There we go. Hello. My name is Scott Ellsworth, and this is my portion for Where I Write TV. I'm the author of a new book called The Secret Game. This is product placement right here. A wartime story of courage, change, and basketball's lost triumph that was published earlier this year by Little Brown and Company. And what I'm going to do is just talk to you just a little bit today about, show you where I write and how I write. This particular book took a long time, years and years of research, years and years of finding my voice. But the actual writing was done in about 2 years, and it was done literally where I am right now, which is in my office in Haven Hall at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. So let me give you just a little tour of the office itself. It's nothing special here. Here's my writing desk. We'll just move right around here. That's my office mate's desk there. Wonderful man. Through the door there to the hallway, there's a photocopying machine and a printer just off to the left. Here's some books, file folders, lots of file folders, all of that kind of stuff. And right here, it's going to be a little bit hard to see, but this is my secret weapon. This large red brick building is the Hatcher Library, Graduate Library at the University of Michigan. It's one of the largest libraries in the world. And I would say during the course of writing The Secret Game, I probably checked out something on the order of 300 books, journals, things like that, and they would find everything for me. Everybody, all writers have their own approach for things. There are people that listen to music. They have sound canceling headphones on. They'll have lots of sort of totemic items around their office. I'm pretty simple. And, I like to keep just a bare wall in front of me. There's my MacBook. I'll keep a few things. Here's pictures of my twin boys when they were younger, Johnny and Will. Here's my beautiful wife. Little saying there. Here's a photograph that I love from the New York Times archives collection. It's of a office building going up in Manhattan, and it's just sort of a reminder that writing a book can take a long time and a lot of effort, and sometimes we get lost to the fact that it takes little steps, word after word after word, to get there. So. But regardless of how you write or anyone else writes, it's just whatever works for you is what works, and that's great. So I want to talk to you a little bit about my approach. The first thing is to keep it simple. If I can keep the office neat, I like to do this, if nothing less than to give the illusion that I know what I'm doing. The second thing is I plan. I write lots of outlines. I do, I write I also use, at times, sort of something like a storyboard where I'll go ahead and use Post-its and I'll try to take scenes and I'll put them together, different storylines, make them happen as I try to plan how a story's, going to go out. I'm constantly taking notes on regular pads. My pen of choice, product placement, is a blue Flare pen. And along the way as well, too, I will do, it's just always looking ahead, and it's always going to change, but that's what you're doing. I would say the third thing I do is focused research. So early on, when you're starting a project, at least for me, it's, you want to read as much as you possibly can, understand it as well as you can, but once the writing begins, the nature of the research changes. And there's a whole new paradigm. And it says basically this. You have a new yardstick. And the yardstick is, as you do research, it's, can I use what I'm researching in the actual manuscript, either in the draft itself, the narrative itself, or in notes or something like that. And that's the one thing that, has got to be always in the back of your mind. You can research things forever and ever and ever, but it really has to do with the writing. And as I do that, I get very focused. So in The Secret Game, I had a lot of oral history interviews. I had transcripts made. And then as I went through the transcripts, I would, make Post-it notes that would say, oh, this is a good point here. I can use that later on. And then my own system, which is kind of weird, is once I used a Post-it, then I would move it on the inside, but I would keep it there in case I needed to refer to it. Again, I take lots of notes on pads, and sometimes when I'm off, in the field, I love these field notebooks, and just go out and write impressions, the weather, how the light is, and things like that. For me, probably the most important, writing rule is just consistency. And this is not original to me at all. What I do, I swiped from Ernest Hemingway and from Raymond Chandler. And basically it's this, is that you need to spend something on the order, if you can, of 4 hours, maybe it's 3, maybe it's 5, a day, every day, writing. Turn off the email, turn off the phone, be in a quiet location. For me, I pretty much went for maybe if I could write a page and a half or 2 pages a day. But some days I would write no words. Other days I would have a negative account of words because I lost, I ended up cutting stuff out. Other days I might write 1,000 words a day or 2,000 words a day. And, and you always stop as well. This is swiped from Hemingway, is that you always stop writing when you know what you're going to write next. Don't stop where you don't know, and if you realize, a little bit further, I'm not sure where I'm going to go, just go ahead and cut it off right there at that point. So, the one little trick that I did is I created a writing log. This is not a product placement, but this is a particular kind of a little notebook that I use. And, but Moleskine makes them, other people do too. And so I created this series of writing logs, and every day I would write down, how many words I wrote, what day of writing it was. This was day 388. I only wrote 42 words that day, but I'd gotten to 130,000 words. Other days, I'm going to do a lot better, in terms of what I've got. Here's a day where I wrote 1,133 words. And the point of that, and the point of the consistency, is that, it all builds up. Books are written, 1 page, 1 sentence at a time, 1 word at a time. And if you keep at it, you're going to produce a book. If you just write 1 page of, 1 typed page of prose a day, by the end of a year, you're going to have 365 pages of prose. So it's a way to go. It's a way with especially all of the pressure you're under, the times where you're not sure where you're going. It's just to remember how you're going. My dad was a geologist and out in the field. And in the 1930s, he told this story time and time again about driving across Kansas in his Model A or something like that. And if you drive across Kansas, state of Kansas, from east to west, it just seems like you're just flat the whole time. But the reality is that as you go, you're slowly gaining elevation. I think, the elevation of the western border of Kansas is something like 5,000 feet taller than the eastern border. And you don't know it. You don't see your progress as you're going. But I think that, it's important to keep a record of it, to pat yourself on the back and go and do it. So I want to thank you. Writing is I love it. It's the hardest work that there is. But I just want to encourage all of y'all, who want to be writers, who are writing as well too, especially, beginning writers or people who are just giving themselves permission to write something. Remember, there's people all over the world that would love to hear what you have to say. You're going to touch their lives, and go for it. Once again, the most important thing is consistent, consistent, consistent. Thanks a lot.